Hello, everyone, and welcome to the new season of the Purposeful Life Show with your host, Adrian Starks. I'm excited to share some new updates of the show with you, starting with a new look, sound, and energy, as well as a variety of guests coming aboard with intriguing topics of conversation. I hope you enjoy the new level of energy that will be brought to the show. Thank you for all of your support since the very beginning in 2019. Wow, it's been 3 years already? Because of you, the Purposeful Life Show is now in the top 5% of all podcasts globally, and we aim to get it into the top 1%. Continue listening to the show and share it with others. You can also now listen to the show on my Facebook page at Adrian Starks, where you can comment in real time and communicate with me about your aha moments. Thank you again for all of your support, and let's make this one hell of a year and be purposeful about doing that. Wishing you all much love and success. Do you feel like you're a doormat to people in life, always getting stepped on or misused, thrown to the side? Is life just a cycle of chaos, disappointments, frustrations, setbacks, toxic relationships, and the cycle continues? Maybe it's time to find your inner truth, the answer to all that drama. Join us on our new podcast episode as we have a special guest, Paula Hopwood, and she will show us how to leave all that chaos behind. Hi, my name is Adrian Starks, and welcome to the Purposeful Life Show on the Champion Up Podcast. This podcast is for the courageous creators wanting to create a life of meaning, adventure, and fulfillment, all while helping to make the world a better place. I'm happy you're here, and if you're new to our show, make sure to give us that 5-star rating and subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes. Also, connect with us on Facebook and Instagram at Champion Up. It is always that one idea that could be your breakthrough. It's time to step into your courage and believe the champion in you. Welcome to the Champion Up Podcast, the Purposeful Life Show. My name is Adrian Starks. I'm your host, and I'm so happy to have you all back for another amazing episode. But before we do that, let's have you go ahead and subscribe to the show, give it that 5-star rating, and to give it a review so that you can be on the lookout for more amazing content coming to your way, because I'm so excited to share these amazing, courageous creators with you. Today's show is all about leaving the chaos behind. And we have a powerful guest who knows all about that, and her name is Paula Hopwood. Paula, can you say hello to our guest today?
Hello, everyone. I'm so glad that you're here today.
Well, I'm so glad to have you here, and I'm looking forward to having you share some amazing gems of wisdom with our guests to help them leave that chaos behind. But before we do that, let's give you a little bit here about why Paula is on this show, because she is certainly a courageous creator. Paula's life is all about turning dreams into reality. She's an inspirational speaker, best-selling author, master intuitive, certified coach, and goddess. For many years, Paula's life was filled with abuse and extreme negativity. A life with abundance, prosperity, and love was only a dream that she had. That is until she decided to wake up her true self and live her dream life. Paula went on a journey, an odyssey, to learn the lessons to set herself free from the bondage of negativity, awaken her true magical, mystical goddess self, and now she shares these most important lessons with people from all walks of life. Paula is honored to support people to awaken their true selves, leave their chaos behind, realize their dreams, and live life to the fullest. As Paula says, life is for living. Bring it on. And Paula's going to bring it on today. Welcome to the show, Paula.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here. Bring it on.
Well, let's bring it on. I think that a lot of us out here want to know how can we bring it on more to life, and I'm excited for you to be able to help us to do that. And before we get into the bringing it on perspective and learning about your journey and exactly how you came to be, could you tell us a little bit more about what exactly it is that you do?
Oh, well, what I do is I help people to leave their chaos behind, right? Like to drop those beliefs they've been carrying around, drop those things that they're carrying around that telling them that they aren't good enough, that they can't do it, anything like that, anything that's
Hmm.
creating drama in their life, to strip that all away and to get down to the core of who they are, whatever that is, right? And then to walk in that truth, to empower them to walk in that truth. And I do this
Mm.
many different ways, with coaching, with retreats, one-on-one coaching, group coaching, however they need the support. There's many different ways that I do it, and I love what I do. I'm so honored to be able to do this.
Well, I can tell that you love what you do, and that's what it is. When you lead from the heart first, that's where you're able to connect with so many people and help them because it's that sharing of caring, right? So I hear that your passion is helping others find their truth within them, and I'm all about this. But why is this so important for people to find their truth within them?
You know, I know this from experience. I was the poster girl for this. Why is it so
Hmm.
important to find their truth? Because so many people are walking around lost. Like
That's true.
I speaking from experience here, I was so lost on my journey, and I was just existing. I was existing to
Yeah.
just try and survive in my life. I was just trying to make things work. I was trying to like pay the bills. I was just trying to make people happy. I was just trying to eke a little bit of happiness out by basically being performing a what's that performing pony in a circus, type thing. Like, it just wasn't working for me. And then and the whole thing comes back to trying to survive in my life. And
Mm.
when people come to me and they tell me they have these relationship problems, they have these thoughts, and the world has basically told them this and stuff. And I'm like, well, whose life are you living, right? And so that's why it's
That's
so
true.
important to get down to our core, to our truth, to what our truth is. And that's why I'm so passionate about it, because whose life are you living? Are you living
That's
yours,
true.
or yeah.
I hear you because when you were saying that we're living just to exist, that is something that is really going on right now. People are just trying to exist and they think that's thriving, and it's so not thriving.
Mm-hmm.
They're far from they're living other people's lives. When working with clients, Paula, is it difficult in the beginning for your clients to, or people that you work with or even talk to know what their truth is?
You know, everyone's truth is different. It's for them, right? But being the cool
Yeah.
thing that I've been down that path is that I know that when we strip off the layers and we get down to it, so like somebody might come to me and they tell me about, oh, what their aunt said and da 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 da. So so then I'm like, okay, and I provide space for them, and then we go into why does that bother them, right? And
Ooh,
and
yeah.
we strip things down. So when somebody comes to me, yeah, they don't know what their truth is yet, typically, but when we strip enough away, they do. And also, I think that people pretty much somewhere down deep inside of them, they know who they are, because they know that that's why they don't like that drama and the trauma and the chaos. They know that's why they don't like the comments or whatever's going on in their life, or they're unhappy, is because they're not in alignment with who they are. And so they'll tell me what they dream about. They'll tell me what they want in their life, and that's who they are. So that's what I help them get to.
If these people are saying this, they're telling what they want and what their dream is. Why is it that they're avoiding their inner truth, though? If they want these things, why do they persist on avoiding that truth?
Well, again, speaking from experience here,
Hmm.
I have been where they're at. We are literally programmed and trained to react, respond, behave in certain ways. You think about it, we have societal
Yeah.
rules. We have rules that in school, we have rules everywhere about how we need to be. And it's funny is I'm a mother of four, and this always used to bother me that I tell my kids, don't go talk to strangers, like don't go with strangers. And then we take them
Hmm.
to school, we drop them off in kindergarten, and next thing you know, there was strangers, and then those strangers take a day off, and another stranger comes in and takes care of them. And so these kids, we're grown up to just listen blindly to other people's rules and not question them, right? And not to find our truth within those rules, whether they are right for us or not. So we're literally programmed. We're news, TV, magazines, you name it. We're bombarded with messages about how we need to live our life, and yet nobody's living our life but us, right?
That's true. We don't want to live for other people, but unfortunately, a lot of people are.
Mm-hmm.
And what you're saying is that we have to pretty much deprogram ourselves. And we can do this. Like if we've programmed ourselves up to this point by society, by you even mentioned before, like sometimes family can get in the way and tell you things and make you believe certain things, watching the TV, reading the newspapers, whatever you may choose as your form of information, that is programming you. And that is what you're operating from. And that becomes your truth that you think is true for you, but it's really not. And what Paula is saying is that you can reprogram yourself to understand your inner truth. And this is amazing information, Paula. How long did it take you to find your inner truth? And when you found it, what did it feel like?
Mm-hmm. Well, I would like to say that it happened overnight, but it didn't.
Everyone wants that, right? We want it to happen
Yeah,
overnight.
I would like to say I took a pill and
The magic pill.
yeah, no, it was a process, definitely a process.
Okay.
It started with me coming to the realization that I was so unhappy in my life and realizing that it was my life. And then I had a really cool experience where it was a turning point in my life where I had a near death experience and I realized that I wasn't made for abuse. That here I'd been living my life, allowing all this abuse in my life, and this statement, this quote came in my head. Now this is back before I had internet or anything. Like I was just living, like always. I'm a country girl living in the bush, and this voice came in my head, and it said, "What I allow will continue." And that
Ooh.
changed my life forever. What I
Let's
allow
repeat
will,
that again.
yeah, what I allow will continue. Good, bad, or indifferent. What I allow will continue. Oh, I've got shivers running up and down me right now. So the thing is that yes, my journey actually started in 2000, in
Mm-hmm.
turning my life around. And yes, layers have been stripped off, sometimes bigger layers than others. You know what? I'm still breathing and blinking my eyes, so I'm still stripping off more off of me. So it's a beautiful journey to be on. And so it's taken years. The majority of it was way back from 2000 to 2010, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's something that you just keep working on, right? And you just I just started falling in love with myself so much. So I can't really put a timeline of it other than it started and it hasn't quit. So there's always deeper layers.
That's always, yes, true. There's always deeper layers, always more to work on and to improve with ourselves. And Paula, for our audience listening today, Paula's a very powerful individual, woman, leader, coach. She may seem like to you that she's got it all together and everything's perfect but she's just explaining to you that she's went through some major challenges in her life, a long journey, and that she's here today and she's still on this journey of helping others get along their journey. Paula's story is very strong. I mean, Paula faced challenges of physical, emotional, and psychological abuse. And this is for anyone listening today. If you're experiencing this as well, I encourage you to really listen closely here to Paula because she is an example of what it means to not allow things to continue. She stopped that process. My question to you today is what are you allowing to continue in your life that you do not want? And speaking of wanting, Paula, there was a moment in your life where you just said, okay, this is going on. And you talked about being in toxic relationships as well, too. But what was your turning point? That moment when you said, enough is enough. And I just need to get out of this. I need to do something different. I deserve better for myself. When did that happen for you?
That was in August of 2000 when I was very, very suicidal and I succeeded and I had a white light experience. So I had a near death
Oh.
experience and a white light experience.
Mm,
And so I realized that I was so unhappy with my life performing for other people and I wasn't happy
hmm
and living to the world standards and stuff that I had lost myself. I had been so lost my whole life.
hmm
When I had the white light experience and was fortunate enough to come back, I mean, obviously I'm here, so, you
Thank
know,
you for being here.
you know, I obviously came back. I thought, oh man, I need to change. And that's when I heard that what I allow will continue. And it just shook me that I realized that everything that had happened in my life, everything that I had thought, every incident was up to me how I thought about it. It was up to me. I may not be able to stop something physically from happening or something, but it's up to me whether I think about it, whether it's happening to me or for me. What am I going to do with it? What lessons am I going to pull from it? And how am I going to move forward instead of stuck in that energy? And so that was the big turning point for me, was August of 2000. And man, I just haven't looked back since.
I love that. Don't look back. I think it's Winston Churchill. He said, if you're going through hell, you keep going. Do not look back.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you just reminded me of that, because we all go through that moment where we're like, oh, I'm in this dark space, dark tunnel. Am I ever going to get out of here? The problem with a lot of people across the planet is that they're focusing on where they're at currently, and they're just looking at themselves standing still, and they're not moving forward. And you actually moved forward. I want to talk about toxic relationships, because I believe we're living in an era now where there's a lot of those going on, and it's actually increasing. That's why depression's increasing now. That's why the loneliness epidemic is coming up, because people don't want to be alone. And so this is putting them into these relationships, or they're allowing themselves to be put into relationships where they don't really need to be in it. I used to also do this. But why do you think people get into toxic relationships in the first place? And why don't they see it coming?
I think that, again, speaking from experience,
Hmm.
but I think that people sabotage their life. They don't feel good about themselves. Therefore, they're looking for something. And honestly, quite often, people will look at somebody but not take them at face value for what they're doing or who they are, right? So they'll look at the other person, and then they put attachments on them. They want that other person to fulfill this need. They want that other person to fulfill that need.
Right.
They want, but they're not allowing that other person to be that other person and accept them for who they are. And so they put attachments on it. And right now, with the energies that are out there, we're moving into a time of unconditional love. So all this stuff is coming up. All this stuff is coming up. I'm really putting that message out there now too, is to take a look at, if you're in a toxic relationship or any relationship. I mean, it could even be with your pet. This just happened to me the other day with my horse. As I realized that I had attachments to him, instead of just loving him unconditionally. And just to take a look at, why do you love somebody? Why? Take a look. Or why are you in the
That's
relationship?
a strong one.
Or why are you really accepting them? I hear a lot of people, and I've been there, physical, emotional, spiritual, sexual abuse, why did I put up with that? Well, because I had attachments to, oh, he'll be like this. Oh, if I just do this, he'll be better, and stuff. And I didn't take him for who he was, and the other person is just trying to survive in their environment too. And is it fair to put, our attachments on them, or our needs and our, honestly, it's like people say, I'm in a toxic relationship, but you couldn't be in it unless you had those toxic thoughts, right? So,
Ooh,
yeah.
okay. Let's go to that one. Okay, so you wouldn't be in those relationships unless you had those toxic thoughts.
Yes.
So I'm going to get on the side here, the person maybe listening who is a bit defensive here. So they're going to say, well, what do you mean that I've got toxic thoughts? You're saying that I want this to happen to myself? And that's what people would probably think, but that's not really where you're
No.
going with this. It's
No.
something else behind this toxic thought. So what's that?
Yeah, that's what I was just going to get into. I was like, oh,
Awesome.
Adrian, you're going to get a lot of comments now.
That's why I had to interject there and say, okay, let me get on the side here. Let's talk about this one.
No, the
This is
toxic thoughts, like, again, I'm going to use myself as an example. So my toxic thoughts were that I thought that, because I mentioned, physical and emotional and sexual abuse, I thought that men just used me. I thought that that's what was supposed to happen. That's a toxic thought, right? So I would put myself in situations that would hurt me. I didn't think that I deserved better, or I didn't think, I don't know, I just couldn't see better, right? And so these toxic thoughts kept me in this, When I heard that, what I allow will continue, it was like a veil was lifted off of me, and I realized where having these thoughts, like, honestly, Adrian, I had a thought that, and it was a strong belief that there were no good men in the world. How? That was just, and of course I couldn't see the good men because
I've heard that statement before.
Yeah, yeah, right. Or I mean, let's turn it the other way. All women are crazy. You know. So I had that belief. I had that belief that there was no good men in the world, and so guess what showed up in my life? Right. That's the only thing I could interact with was people that would abuse me, and so that was a toxic thought. Right. And so when I became aware of it. That's the big thing is becoming aware of it. And if you're listening and you were triggered, become aware of why. And just know that there's so much better out there. So when I became aware of that toxic thought, I'm like, oh my goodness, if I think that there's no good men out there, then there isn't going to be any good men out there. And I decided to change that because I see other people having great relationships. I mean, there's evidence, right? There's evidence of people changing their lives around. There's evidence of people living these wonderful dream lives, that I wanted. And so it's definitely possible. And so that's
Well,
what I
it's
meant by
possible for
that.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's possible for you too, because you have a great man in your life.
Yes, I
So
do.
for the women listening today, hey, let me just tell you something. There are good men out there. I'm one of them, okay?
Yeah.
So you guys just need to open your eyes.
And not all women are crazy.
And I'm gonna say this too for the ladies out there. Not all of you are crazy. I promise. All right. So for the audience member listening today, Paula, who may be also struggling. So if you're listening, and I'm sure you are because obviously you are, you could be in a toxic relationship. This doesn't have to be with someone that you're intimate with. This could be a friend, a family member, as Paula mentioned, a pet. You have to really think about who are you trying to anchor yourself in, meaning get stuck to, because that's a fear that you have. But for this audience member listening, Paula, what word of advice, that one step that you can give them that they can take onto a different path of moving out of something toxic and leaving the chaos behind?
Well, I hope if you're listening, you have a piece of paper and a pen because write this down. I've said it
All right.
earlier. It changed my life. It has changed so many other people's lives. Write it up, hang it on your wall, hang it up on your bathroom mirror. It's what I allow will continue. So, good, bad, or indifferent, whatever you allow in your life, be it the thoughts that you have or the relationships or whatever, what I allow will continue because you are in charge of your life. You are living your life, not anybody else. You're not a victim in your life. You're not somebody to be tossed around or anything. You are living your life. So what you allow will continue. And I tell you, that changed my life so much. I still use that saying. If something happens, I think to myself, what I allow will continue. Okay, what am I going to do with this now? And then I proceed forward. So write that down. What I allow will continue because it is so powerful.
Amazing. What you allow will continue. And that is absolutely powerful. Paula, you have worked with many clients and you have been in the company of self-development legends, inspirational speakers such as Les Brown, John C. Maxwell, Wayne Dyer, and Nick. Hopefully I say his last name correctly. Is it Vujicic?
I don't know. I always say Vojcic or something. I can never say
Wojcik? Okay.
Nick. I just call him Nick.
All right. So the audience listening today, for our members listening today, don't you laugh at me. You try pronouncing that last name and see how close you get. At least I tried it like right now. All right. So you met all these amazing people. How did all that happen? I mean, how do you think that happened? Think about it, Paul. You came from this journey of this chaos, these relationships, you surviving your suicide attempts. How did that happen? How did you come to meet all these people?
Yeah.
Where did that
Actually,
come from?
that's a very short list because I was like, oh, he left out, so and so and so and so, and I could add to the list a lot more. Well, honestly, it comes from turning around my life. It comes from turning around my thoughts of unworthiness and stuff. So one thing led to another. When I started turning my life around, of course, I started seeking out mentors, coaches. It started off getting programs, right? And from there, it led into different certifications, different trainings and stuff. And from there, that led me to the John Maxwell team. And from there, I, got to know John personally, and then just started meeting people. I mean, although I met Greg Foreman, and that was I love Greg Foreman because I'm a big boxing fan, and that's where I know him from. And I actually met him before the John Maxwell team, and that was like meeting Jesus. Like that was just amazing. Very, very, very inspirational man. And I remember sitting there and I heard him speak, and then got to meet him afterwards and spend some time with him. And I remember thinking to myself that, Paula, this is what you want in your life. You want to be around people like this. And one of the other things that I've noticed is because, yeah, I've been around some big names, but I think of them as people, and I'm a people too. And so I deserve a better life. I deserve to have everything that life has to offer. And when I adopted that attitude, it's like the doors bust open for me of opportunities,
Oh, yes.
Relationships started changing. Opportunities showed up, had an opportunity to meet Nick. I'm not even going to try and say his last name. I've had an opportunity.
You saw me fail it. You're like, I'm not trying it.
Not going there, Adrian. I've had opportunities to meet just such influential, amazing people. Even yourself, Adrian. Put yourself in that list.
Thank you.
Had an impact on my life, and this is the quality of the high vibrational relationships that I want in my life, right? That I seek out. And so I welcome them in. And that's how that all happened, is just a change of a mindset, knowing that I deserve that, and I call it in.
Change of a mindset. It's interesting. I had a conversation with a friend the other day. We had lunch and she and I were talking, and she had transcended her whole ideology about her life has just moved into a different direction of letting go of the things that no longer serve her. Mm. And there was a part of her during our conversation, she felt really guilty about letting go of certain people that were good for her at the time that she was in her life. But now that she has grown, or she's grown through this process, she realizes that their habits were really self-debilitating habits that she can't allow in her life now. So there was a part of her that felt like, am I wrong for leaving them? Am I wrong for walking away? Mm. And I think this is why a lot of us, we get stuck and we are afraid to move forward. So I want to move into the next topic here about moving forward. You had a wonderful article that you wrote, and this ties into my friend that was afraid to move forward. And if she's listening, you better not be. But there's an article you wrote called Door Management 101. Bam. And you say, do not be the doormat. Hello. Okay, let's say it again. Door Management 101, do not be the doormat. So powerful. What is that all about, not being the doormat?
Well, I'm so glad that you brought that up because I was actually going to quote part of that when you were talking. So now I get to. Quite often, I used to feel like a doormat. People would wipe their feet on me. They'd wipe their problems on me, blame them for their stuff. I tried to make them happy, and it was just a big drama show, right? And lots of chaos going on in my life when I was abused and being abused and abusive to myself. And I realized I was just thinking that if I'm a doormat, that means there's got to be a door somewhere nearby. And if there's a door somewhere nearby, that means I can step backwards and shut that door. Because here's what I know. You know that saying, people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime? Well, I believe that everybody comes in for a reason, right? But it's up to the way that they treat me or the way that I think about it, whether they last for a season or a lifetime, right? Because even if you meet somebody, it could be a rage road incident, they're going to affect you, right? Somehow it happened for you. Yeah. That person showed up in your life for a reason, right? Or you might have a beautiful relationship with somebody for 30, 40 years. I mean, there's still a reason behind it. And so when I was thinking about it, I was so tired of people wiping their feet on me, using that doormat, and I thought, if I just put up boundaries and what I allow will continue. Well, for instance, I had a family member that used to call me names constantly. I asked him to quit calling me names, and he couldn't do it. And so I had to shut the door on him. And that was over a decade ago. All I've asked him to do is when you can quit calling me names and swearing at me, I would love to have a conversation with you. And he hasn't. So that's the thing is I'm not going to lay there and be a doormat anymore. So I called it Door Management 101 because it's up to us what we allow in our life, right? I'm a door manager. I should get that on a
You went from a
t-shirt.
doormat. You went from a doormat to a door management. Most people they go from doormat, they go to the door, then they go. No, Paula said, "I'm going straight to door manager, and I'm going to check this person right here at the door." Really, I love that you said that about the family member because there are issues or situations around the world where people are allowing themselves to be mentally and psychologically abused by some of the closest people to
Mm-hmm.
them because they just assume that, well, if they're family or if they're close to me, if I had this childhood friend, then they possibly can't mean me too much harm.
Yeah. Add
And
physical
it's,
abuse to that
yeah,
too.
physical. Yes, let's talk about the physical
You
abuse of that
know,
too.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, because the thing is that whether they're blood related or not, abuse is abuse. And that's the way
Hmm.
I look at it. And if somebody, I'm all for, and I have people and myself included, that if you can work it out and change, then by all means, stay in my life, but if not, there's the door and I'm standing behind it. So because I can't
You're
have
standing
that in my
behind it.
life. So
And for everyone listening today, Paula didn't just say, well, you're out of my life. I want you to pay close attention to what she's saying. With
yeah.
this family member, she gave him the option to come through the door. She says, look, I'm not going to tolerate you calling me names. If you stop calling me names, you and I can have a conversation.
Yeah.
This person did not want to have that conversation. So Paula still showed the love and the respect for them being in her life, but she did not allow them to disrespect her with that. So for you listening, you do have the ability. And remember what Paula said, that you write this thing down. What you allow will continue. That's the theme for today. She didn't allow that to happen. And that person didn't come around. So if you're having people around you that are very negative and they're condescending or they're making you feel a certain way, you've got to ask yourself, what are you allowing and what are you not willing to take on and address the way you should? Paula, this is absolutely amazing. I can see why you're helping so many clients and the reason why you're surrounded by great people. That list we mentioned, I know I left some people out, but you're a magnet for success, and that's why you're on the show as a courageous creator. Do you have any upcoming workshops, events, any coaching that our audience can come and see and be a part of with you?
Yeah, of course, I always have coaching going on. I have a great retreat in January in Punta Cana, Dominican called Soul Getaway. And
Wow.
I'll be starting up my 8-week online program. It's an online grouping. First day with the new mouth. Online group coaching calls an 8-week program, and it's called The Abundant Goddess. And that starts up in September.
And they'll be able to find this information on your website?
Yeah, just go to my website, paulahopwood.com, and you can find it there. You can message me there. There's all sorts of really cool stuff on there. Yeah, have fun with checking all the stuff out.
All right. Perfect. Is there any other way that our guests can connect with you?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook. My name, Paula Hopwood, and then on Instagram, I'm Paula, and then oh no, that's gone out of my head. The underscore Hopwood. And of course, there's my website. It's got all my links to all my social media and how to email me and get in contact with me. And I would love that.
Well, I'm sure they would love that too. So, for our audience listening today, make sure that you go to Paula's website, look into the retreat. I would encourage you to really find a way to get there because Paula's absolutely, she's just mesmerizing. So, you would have a wonderful time and you would definitely have a breakthrough in your life. Also, go to her social media pages and follow her as well because there's a lot of great information she's providing to the audience. And for instance, the Door Management 101 is something that you can also find on her website, along with other great articles that she has written for you just to get you started, to show you that there is a way. And this has been absolutely mind blowing, Paula. And I'm just really excited about this opportunity today to share with you the power of leaving chaos behind. We have come to the moment of the show that our audience loves, and so do I. It's called the Courageous Creator Question. It's a deep, profound question that I ask, and it allows you to think a little bit, but it puts you into a state where you can give whatever answer you want from the deepness of your heart. The question for you, Paula, is what does it mean to be true to ourselves?
Yeah. What does it mean to be true to ourselves? For me, what that means is about honoring that sacred self within us, about who we really are. Who am I really? And letting that come out. If you remember in my bio, I talk about how I stepped into my mystical, magical goddess, and I've stepped into who I really am. That's honoring that and that sacredness within me. And we all have that sacred within us. Every single person has that sacredness in them. That's what it is about for me. I'm just sitting in the energy right now. It's nice. Yeah.
I love that. And that's what it means to be true to ourselves. So for everyone listening today, are you really being true to yourself? I'm not saying that, I tell people what I need to say, or I say no when I should say no, or say yes when I should say yes. Meaning, are you really listening to what your inner core, that gut feeling we call, that feeling of the butterflies in the stomach? Are you moving through that energy? Are you really allowing yourself to feel something and act on it, even if it scares the heck out of you? That's what it means to be true to yourself. But more importantly, what are you allowing to continue in your life right now that you're not happy with? We all have chaos in our life. I'm not exempt from this. Paul is not exempt from this. No one is. Not even your leaders out there, the people that you may follow and you may listen to all the time. They are not exempt from that. Nobody is perfect. However, people such as Paula and other great leaders, they have learned how to deal with the chaos, how to move through it, how to leave it behind, how to check people and things at the door. So I want you to check whatever you have at the door and become a door manager and not the doormat, because you're going to have to leave that chaos outside. Until then, I encourage you all to be that courageous creator in your life. This is the Purposeful Life Show on the Champion Up Podcast with myself, Adrian Starks, and thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed our podcast today, don't forget to give us that 5-star rating and subscribe to the show so you don't miss out on the powerful, life-changing content on future episodes. Also, make sure to go to championup.net for even more life-changing content. Until then, I encourage you to be the courageous creator in your life.